Hello friends and viewers, Swagatham. Welcome back to KNS Biochemistry. In this video session, I am going to talk about one of the area of nanocapsules. What are these nanocapsules, and how are drug molecules released into the target system with the help of nanocapsules? That is, drug release mechanisms and applications of nanocapsules. So we can start the session. Come along with me. So now we are going to. So in this session, we are going to say about the role of nanocapsules in drug release mechanism and the applications of nanocapsules. So the nanocapsules are one of the important biomedical applications of nanomaterials. So under these nanocapsules, see that these nanocapsules are going to trap the drug molecules, and the drug molecules trapped inside the nanocapsules can be taken to the target site. In the target, the drug should be released. So what kind of release, drug release mechanism is used here? That is what we are going to see in this session, and followed by the applications of nanocapsules in drug release. So what are nanocapsules? Already we know that nanocapsules are existing in minuscule size, small size, that is ranging from 10 nanometer to 1000 nanometer is the size of the nanocapsule. They consist of, as usual, a liquid or a solid core, the central core, in which your drug molecule is placed into a cavity which is surrounded by another distinctive polymer membrane coat that is made up of natural or synthetic polymers. So this is the nanocapsule, and you can see the structure of your nanocapsule. As I said, this is the liquid core at the center, and after that you are having a polymeric membrane. The structure of nanocapsule A, liquid core at the center, followed by is surrounded by polymeric membrane. After that, B, you can see that polymeric matrix is there. This is the matrix with the liquid or solid material, then surrounded by polymeric membrane. Then the liquid core is having drug molecules. They are active substance in the molecular state. Then that is again surrounded by polymeric membrane. So this nanocapsule having the drug is traveling and reaching the target site. In the target site, how is your drug is released? What kind of drug release mechanisms are used? That is what we are going to see in this session, the drug release mechanisms. So we have several mechanisms for releasing a drug from the nanocapsule into the target site. So we are going to see all these drug release mechanisms one by one. The first one, number one, is partitioning controlled mechanism. The first mechanism is partitioning controlled mechanism. So here the release of encapsulated drugs encapsulated inside a nanocapsule. Okay, so that encapsulated drugs from nanocapsule made up of preformed polymers appears only to be controlled by the partition coefficient of the drug. Partition coefficient, that is coefficient between the two immiscible solvents, that is called partition coefficient. So the partition coefficient of the drug between the oily core, that is the nanocapsule core, and the aqueous external medium, aqueous environment, external medium. So based on that partition coefficient between the oily core and the aqueous environment, your drug is transported or it is released. That is called partition mechanism. and the relative volumes of these two phases also influencing it. So based on that, your drug is released from the oily core into the target. The second mechanism is diffusion mechanism. Diffusion, that is, you know what is diffusion? Movement of the solvent from the area of higher concentration to lower concentration. The solvent is moving, and you see the diffusion controlled. So except for macromolecule, the polymer membrane may be small, porous. It is having small pores, porous, rather than a continuous film barrier to diffusion release. So the polymer membrane is not totally closed. It is having small pores. Through that pores, the solvent will move. Along with the solvent, your drug is also released by simple diffusion. This is the diffusion release mechanism. Then next one is next type of mechanism is absorption mechanism of drug. The previous one is drug release mechanism. Under this we have seen two methods. This is the second type of mechanism, absorption mechanism of the drug. How the drug is absorbed by the target. That is called absorption mechanism. Under that you are having two methods. Number one, oral route. Nanocapsule absorbed by intestinal epithelium and translocated in intact form to blood vessels. So this is oral route, means you are taking a nanocapsule tablet. Directly you are taking the tablet through oral route. You are taking the drug that is already that is entrapped inside a nanocapsule. So you are directly taking the nanocapsule with the drug through oral route, and when it reaches the intestinal epithelium will absorb the capsule directly it intact without any damage. The nanocapsule itself goes to the blood vessels directly. Second route is parenteral route. In parenteral route, nanocapsule prepared by interfacial polymerization method. We have seen different methods of nanocapsule formation. One method is interfacial polymerization method. So the nanocapsule prepared by that interfacial polymerization method of the isobutyl cyanoacrylate monomer, they were retained longer at the injection site after IM administration, intramuscular administration. Okay, directly you are injecting the capsule through muscles. That is IM administration. They were taken up to significant extent by the regional lymph nodes. So here the capsule is directly injected into the muscles by IM, intramuscular injection, and the nearby lymph node present in that muscle area, they will take the nanocapsule and they will release it slowly to the other areas, target area. This is called parenteral route transport. So nano-size particle, that is nanocapsule is a nano-size particle. They can be administered IV, intravenous, that is directly injecting into the blood vessel, into the veins. So they are administered by IV, intravenous administration, because diameter of smallest blood capillary is approximately 4 micrometer. So even if you take smallest minute capillaries, they are called minute blood sinusoids. Even that sinusoids are having approximately 4 micrometer diameter. So that is enough for a nanocapsule to enter, because nanocapsules are smaller than even blood capillaries, minute blood capillaries. So through that you can directly inject them into the blood vessels. So that is also a parenteral route of injection of the nanocapsules. So particle, they are greater than 100 nanometer size, 100 nanometer in diameter size, are rapidly taken up by RES in liver, spleen, lungs and bone marrow. So reticuloendothelial system is there. Reticuloendothelial system is a blood vessel system, RES, and these systems present in liver, spleen, lungs and bone marrow. So they, through blood, if the particles greater than 100 nanometer goes there, they will be directly taken by this RES route system. Another route is ocular route. Higher penetration of nanocapsule into the corneal epithelial cell. Corneal epithelium is there in your eyeball. So the corneal epithelial cells, they can directly take the nanocapsule. Nanocapsule can penetrate even corneal epithelial cell, and by mucoadhesion of these positively charged particle on to the negatively charged membrane. So these nanocapsules are positively charged. They will bind with the membrane of the corneal epithelial cell. Because they are negatively charged, they can bind easily. They will have a mucoadhesion, binding. So because of that, your nanocapsule can be easily absorbed. Then next one is applications of nanocapsules. So applications of nanocapsules is that nanocapsules are applied in various areas, and we are going to see them one by one. Applications of nanocapsules here. So these nanocapsules have been proposed as drug delivery systems for several drugs by different routes. That the routes what we have seen previously, that is absorption mechanism, delivery mechanism. So by several different routes of administration, such as oral administration, ocular administration, or parenteral administration. So that is one of the important applications of nanocapsules. Nanocapsules are used to deliver the drug to the target by using all these different types of routes of administration of drug. Then another application is nanocapsules reduce the toxicity of some drugs. Some drugs, you see that they are tagged with some other chemical molecules, they will act toxic compounds to the body. But nanocapsules are not toxic. They are all made up of membranes, polymer membranes. They are like plasma membrane. So they will not be any toxic to the cell. So the nanocapsules reduce the toxicity of the drugs. Another important application. Then they improve the stability of the drug, because nanocapsules will release the drug slowly. So the stability of the drug is improved here. Improve the stability of the drug either in biological fluids or simply in the formulation. That is nanocapsule formulation. Here you can say through oral route how it is going. The nanocapsules are helping. They are helping that is releasing of drug molecules. Entrapment of unstable molecules such as peptides or that of any anti-inflammatory compounds, anti-inflammatory drugs, anti-inflammatory compounds that cause local side effects on the mucosa. Local side effects on the mucosa. So these molecules, when they are kept inside the nanocapsules, the mucosa will not be affected, side effects will not be there, because they are all entrapped inside the nanocapsule. This nanocapsule will release these drug molecule only at the target site. Before that, it will not release the molecule. It will release the drug molecule only when it reaches the target, proper target. So in that way, side effect is avoided. Then indomethacin, it is a drug. Indomethacin successfully encapsulated inside a nanocapsule with the aim of reducing its side effects on the gastric and intestinal mucosa. Because indomethacin is given for some kind of ulcer. So when it is given to the stomach directly, it is going to have side effects on gastric juice in secretion, and intestinal mucosa will be damaged. So if it is directly given, side effects comes. Instead of that, if the indomethacin is encapsulated inside a nanocapsule and it is given directly to reach the stomach, it will not affect the stomach. Instead of that, it will travel and it will reach the target, the nanocapsule. Once it reaches the target, it will release the indomethacin. So the side effects caused by indomethacin inside the stomach is avoided. So next one, insulin loaded nanocapsules. You know, insulin is a very important hormone for regulating the blood glucose. So insulin problem comes, then diabetes mellitus will come. So insulin loaded nanocapsules yielded promising pharmacological results. What are all those results? When given orally, that is insulin loaded nanocapsules are given orally, to diabetic rats, because under research their rats are used. When they are orally given to diabetic rats and dogs, single administration of this insulin-loaded nanocapsules produced a reduction in glycemia, that is glucose level in the serum is called glycemia. A reduction in glycemia, and this hypoglycemia was sustained for up to 20 days. So now you see that insulin is not giving any problem because it is giving through nanocapsule. So it is sustained for 20 days. Anti-infectious agents. Anti-infectious agents such as atovaquone, that is a drug, atovaquone and rifabutin. Rifabutin and atovaquone both are very important drugs used. They are actually antimicrobial drugs. So these two compounds active against the opportunistic parasite. Opportunistic parasite like Toxoplasma gondii. This is an opportunistic parasite. So this microbe will be killed by these two antimicrobial drugs. So these compounds are active against this parasite Toxoplasma gondii, were successfully entrapped in. So these two drugs are entrapped inside a nanocapsule that is made up of polylactide nanocapsules. The outer membrane is made up of polylactide. So a polylactide nanocapsules, inside that the drug is entrapped and it is formed by nanoprecipitation method. So this nanocapsule entrapped with these two antibiotic, they are very, very active against Toxoplasma gondii. So that is one of the application of nanocapsules. Then nano encapsulation is allowed to decrease in the brain parasitic burden in a higher extent than the same amount of free drug. So when free drug is given, you see that in case of brain parasitic disorder, you see that free drug will give side effects, but nano encapsulated drug will not give that much burden to the brain. Side effects will not be there. Then another one is chitosan coated nanocapsules. Nanocapsules covered with chiton. Chiton is a polysaccharide. The chitosan coated nanocapsules were particularly interesting for oral administration through oral route, probably because their positive charge, because chiton coated nanocapsules will have positive charge outside. Because of their positive charge, allow them to stick efficiently along the gastrointestinal mucosa with a further possible diffusion through the epithelium. So it thus providing a continuous drug delivery into the bloodstream. So because of this positive charge, it binds with the gastrointestinal mucosa and slowly it releases its drug through diffusion into the epithelial cells, and from there it continuously drug is delivered into the bloodstream. So slowly delivering the drug is going to give lot of good effect inside the immune system of the body. So that is one of the advantages of using nanocapsules. This is one of the application of nanocapsules. Then another application, calcitonin. You know what is calcitonin? Calcitonin was entrapped into nanocapsules. So calcitonin entrapped nanocapsules, they are long-lasting hypocalcemia effects were observed. Hypocalcemia effect is observed long-lasting following oral administration to rats. In contrast, calcitonin control emulsions led to negligible responses. That is negligible responses in rat. Calcitonin control emulsions. Control emulsions, they will not have this nanocapsules. Without nanocapsule is called control in animals. So they will not give any response. But calcitonin trapped inside nanocapsules gives very good response. Then parenteral route. Nanocapsules prepared by interfacial polymerization method of isobutyl cyanoacrylate monomers. They were retained longer at the injection site. They are retained longer in the injection site. Slowly they are released. After intramuscular administration, that is IM, intramuscular administration, than the other types of carriers, such as emulsions or liposomes. So, emulsion liposome method is also used, but they are all very less when you compare with this parenteral route. In mice, at an advanced stage of infection with Plasmodium berghei, so it is a bacteria, Plasmodium berghei. The area under the curve for plasma halofantrine was increased 6-fold, that is 6 times, compared with the free drug when the molecule was presented as nanocapsules. So when the molecule presented along with the nanocapsule, you see that it is giving very good effect. If without a nanocapsule, it is not giving that much effect. It's not giving that much effect. So after intramuscular administration, that is IM administration, the nanocapsules containing diclofenac, that is a drug, a diclofenac drug, which is trapped inside a nanocapsule. So the nanocapsule containing diclofenac drug showed a significantly reduced inflammation at the site of injection compared with free drug released in solution. So when free drug is released at the site of injection, it gives allergy, inflammation comes. But when it is given along with nanocapsule, reduced inflammation is there. Inflammation is not at all there in that site of injection. Then the next delivery, ocular delivery. This is another application, ocular. That is delivering the drug directly into the eyeball. That is ocular delivery. The major problems encountered when delivering drugs to the eyeball, that is very, very important. Delivering the drug directly to the eyeball is a very dangerous process. It gives a lot of problems. So when the major problems encountered when delivering drugs to the eyeballs, they are the poor permeability of the corneal epithelium. Corneal epithelium is having poor permeability, so it will not allow the drug. And the rapid clearance because of tear turnover and lacrimal drainage. So through the tear glands, that lacrimal glands, if you are injecting them, they will go very fast. Rapid clearance of the drug takes place. That is done through nanocapsules. Then pilocarpine, it is a drug. So in this case, sustained drug release was obtained when incorporating the pilocarpine loaded nanocapsules into pluronic gel. That is nanocapsules loaded with pilocarpine, which is loaded along with pluronic gel. So that gives very good effect. Thus, a significant increase in the bioavailability of the drug was achieved. The bioavailability of the drug is achieved only with this combination. Then ganciclovir, it is an antiviral drug which is used for viral infection. Ganciclovir. So this antiviral drug used for the treatment of cytomegalovirus infection. Cytomegalovirus is a type of virus. For this viral infection, this ganciclovir is used. So this drug is used for these cytomegalovirus infections. In the clinical practice, 2 or 3 intravitreal injections per week are needed to overcome the rapid clearance of the drug from the ISIS. So ganciclovir encapsulation in polyethyl cyanoacrylate polymer encapsulated nanocapsules made by interfacial polymerization method provided a sustained release of the drug over 4 days. Similarly, cyclosporine, another drug, was efficiently entrapped in poly-E-caprolactone. nanocapsules, leading to a 5-fold increase, that is 5 times increase of the cyclosporine, a corneal concentration. So this table gives applications of nanocapsules. Applications is that agrochemicals, anti-inflammatory drugs, antiseptics, cosmetics, diabetes, nanocapsules used for cancer, nanocapsule for topical use, and the drug they are used for these kind of things. Abamectin nanocapsules, then pyrethrin nanocapsules, diclofenac nanocapsules, monodispersed polymer nanocapsules. So these are all the nanocapsule drugs used against these areas. The mode of preparation, how to prepare these nanocapsules. For suppose emulsion polymerization method, microemulsion polymerization, sol gel method, interfacial polymerization, precipitation method, emulsion diffusion method, interfacial polymerization, nano encapsulation method, the repeated freezing and thawing concentrate method, phase inversion process. So the mode of preparation methods are given. And see that for this method, the references are given in the last column. That is not required. So what kind of problem is there for that? What is the drug use? What is the mode of preparation? And the applications of nanocapsules are given in this table. This table is important. This table is important, but the applications of nanocapsules are given in tabular form. So now you can see that the benefits of nanocapsules. What are all the advantages, significance, or benefits of nanocapsules? Receptors can be added without change to drug structure. So that is one of the benefits. Drug structure with receptors can be added. Minimize drug degradation. That is one of the important advantage of the nanocapsule. Drug degradation is minimized several times. Increased drug bioavailability. Availability of the drug. Bioavailability means drug should be slowly released. Bioavailability of some drug is increased means immunity will increase. So that is one advantage of nanocapsules. The dosage for drugs can be decreased by 10,000 folds, 10,000 times, because nanocapsules are small. So dosage will be minimum, only minimum, nano level dosage is enough. If it is a bigger drug, you have to give large dosage. If you give more dosage, more side effects will come, because they are all chemical molecules. Side effects are very, very high when you give higher dosage. But here the dosage of a drug given in nanocapsule is minimum, very, very, very minimum. 10,000 times minimum than the conventional method. So that is another advantage of nanocapsules. So these are all the benefits of the nanocapsules. So that is why nanocapsules are going to be used in future for any kind of nanomedicine treatment. Even for drug used for cancer, they are going to come in the form of nanocapsules. In the table we have seen that. Nanocapsules used for cancer treatment. Dear friends, in this talk, I explained you about what is a nanocapsule, the structure of a nanocapsule, then what are all the mechanisms, that drug release mechanisms available for the delivery of drug along with the nanocapsules to the target site. Then finally we have seen about the various applications of nanocapsules. So with that I stop this session. I'll be coming back with you with another topic in the next session. Until then, it is bye from KNS Biochemistry. Be happy. Thank you very much. Namaskar.